The 1990s were packed with muscle cars that could leave most sports cars in the dust. With speeds topping over 140 miles per hour and acceleration from 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds, these hidden speed machines are the unsung heroes of the decade's car scene. Number 15, 1991, Chevrolet 454 SS. Some vehicles are forgotten, even when they are incredibly fast. The Chevrolet 454 SS is one of them. This powerful truck could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just under 8 seconds. That may not sound like much today, but back in the year 1990, it was a huge deal for a truck. It was one of the quickest pickup trucks ever made, but most people do not even talk about it. To start with, the Chevrolet 454 SS had a giant engine. It came with a 454 cubic inch V8 engine. This engine first appeared in the 1990 model, making 230 horsepower and 385 pound-feet of torque. Even though it was heavy, the truck could move fast and burn its tires easily. In the year 1991, Chevrolet made the truck even better. The engine became stronger, producing 255 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. It also got a new 4-speed automatic transmission, which made shifting gears smoother. The truck now had a better exhaust system and a different gear ratio of 4.10 instead of 3.73. This helped it move faster while also making it better for highway driving. What makes this truck even more special is that Chevrolet did not just throw a big engine inside, they also worked on the suspension to make it drive better. It had sports suspension, special shock absorbers, and strong tires. It still felt like a truck on rough roads, but when driven fast, it handled much better than expected. At first, the truck was popular. Chevrolet sold almost 13,000 in the year 1990 alone. But in the next 3 years, sales dropped to less than 1,500 per year. One big problem was fuel economy. It could only go around 10 miles per gallon, which made it expensive to drive. By the year 1993, Chevrolet stopped making it. Even though it was one of the fastest trucks of its time, the Chevrolet 454 SS is often forgotten. But for those who remember, it was a true beast on the road. Number 14, 1992, Pontiac Firebird, Formula 350. Some cars are faster than people think, and this one is proof. It goes from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.6 seconds and finishes a quarter mile in 15 seconds. But nobody talks about it. It does not look like a race car. It does not have a loud, wild sound. It is one of the fastest unknown cars, and that makes it even more dangerous on the streets. A few years ago, it was sitting at a small dealer lot, waiting for someone to see its true power. It had already run 180,000 miles, but it was still strong. The price was only $2,200. The engine started knocking just as it reached its new home. But this was not a problem. A bigger plan was already in place to make this car a turbocharged monster. Right away, changes began. The 350 cubic inch V8 engine was rebuilt with new pistons, rods, and a high-performance camshaft. The intake and exhaust were also upgraded. The automatic transmission was taken apart and rebuilt with stronger parts to handle the extra power. The goal was not just to make it faster, but to make it unstoppable. Then came the fuel upgrades. It got bigger fuel injectors from a supercharged Pontiac Grand Prix, a stronger fuel pump, and a special fuel pressure booster. A new engine control module from a GMC Typhoon was installed, and every wire was reconnected. Over 2 years, it went through 7 different tuning chips, each one making it faster than before. The turbo setup changed everything. A big turbocharger, a strong exhaust system, and a huge intercooler built for a Toyota Supra were added. It now made 14 pounds per square inch of boost at the track, pushing it to new limits. The first test at the track was in the year 2005. The goal was 11.9 seconds, but it ran 11.7 seconds at 119 miles per hour. More tuning dropped the time to 10.9 seconds. The next year, just one small change made it reach 10.78 seconds at 127 miles per hour. On the streets, this car became a legend. Other drivers were afraid of its turbo power, often asking for a head start. Even with a 10-car lead, they still lost. At the Great Lakes Dragaway in Wisconsin, it drove in, ran 10-second times on street tires, and then drove home. It looks normal, but it is one of the fastest secrets on the road. Number 13, 1993, Ford SVT Lightning. Nobody talks about it. Nobody calls it the fastest. But in 1993, the Ford SVT Lightning was a beast hiding in plain sight. Sure, today's trucks would leave it in the dust, but back then, this thing was untouchable. It was a race truck pretending to be a work truck. It was speed disguised as muscle. It was the unknown fastest car of its time. Back then, most trucks were slow, heavy, and built only for hauling. Then, Ford's special vehicle team showed up with a different idea. They took an ordinary Ford F-150, gave it a massive 351 cubic inch V8 engine, and tuned it like a race car. The result? 240 horsepower and 340 pound-feet of torque. That may not sound crazy now, but in 1993, it was like strapping a rocket to a pickup. Everything about this truck was built for speed. It sat lower than a normal F-150, hugging the road like a sports car. It had a slick air dam with fog lights that made it look aggressive. The rear axle was fitted with a limited slip differential, meaning it could grip the road better when you slammed the gas. Ford even gave it a 4-inch aluminum drive shaft, something you would expect in a race car, not a pickup. Inside, it felt less like a truck and more like a high-speed machine. Instead of a bench seat, it had 2 bucket seats with special embroidery on the headrests. The dashboard was designed like a performance car, with everything within reach, and when you turned the key, the big V8 rumbled to life, shaking the whole truck with raw power. On the road, the Lightning was a monster. It hit 60 miles per hour in just over 7 seconds, quicker than some sports cars at the time. The top speed was limited to 110 miles per hour, but without the limiter, who knows how fast it could go? The transmission was smooth, the handling was sharp, and the brakes were better than almost any other truck on the market. It was loud, it was aggressive, it was a muscle car, trapped in a pickup's body, and somehow, the world forgot. It was one of the fastest machines of its time. Number 12, 1991 Dodge Spirit RT. Well, no one talks about the fastest cars that look boring. Supercars get all the attention, but some of the quickest cars hide in plain sight. The 1991 Dodge Spirit RT was one of them. It looked like a regular 4-door sedan, but it was secretly a rocket on wheels. Right under the hood sat a small but powerful 134 cubic inch turbocharged engine. This was no ordinary motor. It was built with help from Lotus, a company famous for making race cars. With 16 valves, an aluminum head, and an intercooled turbo, it made 224 horsepower. That was a huge number for such a small engine back in the early 1990s. Even better, all that power hit early. At just 2,800 revolutions per minute, the Spirit RT was already pushing out 217 pound-feet of torque. That meant it was fast, but also smooth. The engine had special counterbalance shafts to keep it from shaking like most small turbo motors. This thing did not just go fast, it felt good while doing it. To handle all that power, Dodge used a tough 5-speed manual transmission made by Getrag. It had heavy-duty parts, including a 4-pinion differential, so it could survive the beating from the turbo engine. The final drive ratio was made for speed, giving the Spirit RT a top speed of 142 miles per hour. Of course, going fast is not just about power. The Spirit RT had a race-tuned suspension with thick anti-roll bars and special shocks. The front suspension was raised by 3 inches to improve balance. Wide performance tires gripped the road, while 4-wheel disc brakes helped stop it in a hurry. Optional anti-lock brakes made it even safer. Once you hit the gas, this car took off. It could hit 60 miles per hour in about 6.5 seconds and finish a quarter mile in just under 16 seconds. That was faster than most 4-door cars of its time. But speed was not the only trick. On twisty roads, the Spirit RT felt sharp and controlled. The steering was quick, the ride was smooth, and the handling was easy to control. It was the fastest car nobody ever noticed. If you enjoyed knowing about this hidden masterpieces of the 90s era, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome car insights. Number 11, 1993 Chevrolet Lumina Z34. The 1993 Chevrolet Lumina Z34 was one of the fastest cars that looked like a regular family car, but it was secretly a beast on the road. Right under the hood sat a special 207 cubic inch V6 engine. It was no ordinary engine. This one had dual overhead cams and 4 valves per cylinder, something rare for General Motors at the time. It produced 210 horsepower, which was a lot for a front-wheel drive car back in the early 1990s. Even better, all that power came with a 5-speed manual transmission made by Getrag. This strong gearbox, lets drivers squeeze every bit of speed from the engine. If you shift it at the right time, the Lumina Z34 could hit 60 miles per hour in just over 7 seconds. That was faster than many sports cars of its time. Of course, Chevrolet did not stop at just power. The Lumina Z34 had a sport suspension package with stiffer shocks and springs. It also had four-wheel disc brakes with anti-lock technology, so it could stop just as well as it could go. The handling was sharp, and the car felt planted on the road, making it fun to drive on twisty turns. The design made sure people knew this was not a regular Lumina. It had unique front and rear bumpers, sporty side skirts, and a rear spoiler that made it look fast even when parked. The hood had stylish louvers, and inside there were special bucket seats and a unique steering wheel. For drivers who wanted a little extra luxury, an optional Bose stereo system delivered top-quality sound. Once you hit the gas, the Lumina Z34 came to life. It could blast through a quarter mile in just over 15 seconds and had a top speed of 113 miles per hour. The automatic version was slightly slower but still quick for its class. But the real magic was how the Z34 felt on the road. The steering was precise, the suspension was firm but comfortable, and the engine pulled hard when pushed. It was the fastest car nobody ever noticed, hiding in plain sight. Number 10, 1995, Oldsmobile Aurora.
It combines hydraulics, electronics, and magnetics to produce a continuously variable assist.
Some fast cars never get the spotlight. The 1995 Oldsmobile Aurora was one of them. It looked like a smooth, futuristic sedan, but it hid a powerful surprise under the hood. Right in the heart of this car sat a 244 cubic inch V8 engine. It was a close cousin to Cadillac's famous North Star engine, meaning it was strong and reliable. With 250 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque, the Aurora had more power than most other luxury sedans of the time. It could push this big car from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 8 seconds. Even better, the engine sent power to the front wheels through a high-tech 4-speed automatic transmission. The gearing was designed to give smooth acceleration, and it had a special Autobahn package that made it even faster on the highway. The transmission kept the ride smooth, but the car still had plenty of muscle when it needed to pass slower traffic. The Aurora did not just go fast, it looked fast. Its sleek, rounded body had no sharp edges, giving it a futuristic design that still turns heads today. The front end stretched into a steep windshield, and the sides had a classic Coke bottle shape. Most surprising of all, Oldsmobile removed all badges, so some people did not even know what kind of car it was. Inside, the Aurora felt like a first-class seat on a jet. The leather seats were soft and supportive, perfect for long trips. The dashboard had easy-to-reach controls, and the climate system let the driver and passenger set different temperatures. A travel computer showed the mileage, outside temperature, and trip details. The steering wheel even had buttons to control the stereo without taking hands off the wheel. On the road, the Aurora felt solid and smooth. The suspension was soft, giving passengers a luxury ride, but it still handled corners well. The special Magna-Steer system changed steering effort based on speed, making it easy to turn at low speeds and firm at high speeds. Some people might forget this car, but those who drove it knew the truth. The 1995 Aurora was a hidden powerhouse, disguised as a luxury sedan. Number 9, 1990, Ford Thunderbird Super Coupe. Most people don't know that the 1990 Ford Thunderbird Super Coupe was one of the fastest cars of its time. It wasn't a Mustang or a Camaro, so nobody paid much attention. But in reality, it was quick. 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.9 seconds, and a top speed of 139 miles per hour. That was great speed for a big, comfortable car. The secret was under the hood. Instead of a big V8 engine like the Mustangs, the Super Coupe used a supercharged 232 cubic inch V6. It made 210 horsepower, which was close to what a 305 cubic inch Mustang made at the time. But where the Thunderbird really won was torque. Thanks to the Eaton M90 supercharger, it cranked out 315 pound-feet of torque, more than some V8s. That power made the Super Coupe feel incredibly strong at low speeds. Unlike some high-revving sports cars, this engine didn't need to be pushed to 5,500 RPM to make power. Peak horsepower, 4,000 RPM. And peak torque was even lower at 3,000 RPM. That meant instant power when you hit the gas. The Thunderbird wasn't just fast in a straight line. It had an advanced suspension system that gave it great handling for a heavy car. It could take corners with surprising balance, and it had strong brakes to bring all that speed to a stop. Compared to Mustangs of the time, it felt smoother, more stable, and more refined. Most people don't think of the Super Coupe as a performance car, but it was built for speed. And the best part? It had huge potential for more power. Even small modifications made a big difference. A better air filter added 8 horsepower. A smaller blower pulley increased boost and pushed torque past 300. A bigger mass airflow sensor helped the engine breathe better. Swapping out the exhaust for a Flowmaster system brought it to 230 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. The Thunderbird Super Coupe had everything: power, speed, handling, and comfort. Yet somehow, it remained an unknown legend. Number 8, 1992, Buick Roadmaster LT1. 0 to 60 miles per hour in 10.9 seconds. Quarter-mile drag time in 17.9 seconds. Not bad for an old grandpa car, but almost nobody knows that the 1992 Buick Roadmaster with the LT1 engine is secretly one of the fastest forgotten cars of the 1990s. Back in the day, nobody looked at the Buick Roadmaster and thought, fast. It was big, round, and looked like something your retired uncle would drive to the grocery store. But under the hood, it had the heart of a Corvette. The LT1 engine was a 350 cubic inch V8, making 260 horsepower. That was a lot for a car that looked this boring. Even crazier, this car was built like an old-school muscle car. It had a body-on-frame design, rear-wheel drive, and a big, torquey engine. Most cars in the 1990s were switching to front-wheel drive, but not this classic piece. It had the same mechanical setup as classic hot rods from the 1960s. The only difference? It was wrapped in a grandpa's car body. Nobody expected it to be quick, but the Roadmaster could take off with surprising speed. It had the same engine as the Chevy Impala SS, the cop car favorite, but with more luxury. Leather seats, a smooth ride, and a quiet cabin made it feel fancy. Yet when you floored the gas pedal, the Buick took off like a runaway freight train. Most of these cars were bought by older people who never raced them. That means today, there are still some well-kept Roadmasters out there, waiting to be rediscovered. Unlike the Chevy Caprice, which cops and taxi drivers beat up, the Roadmaster lived a much easier life. For a long time, nobody cared about this car. But now, car fans are starting to realize what a hidden gem it is. A full-size rear-wheel drive sedan with a Corvette engine is a rare thing, especially one this cheap. The Buick Roadmaster LT1 was never supposed to be fast, but somehow it ended up being one of the sneakiest performance cars of its time. Number 7, 1994, Mercury Cougar XR7. Most people do not know it, but the 1994 Mercury Cougar XR7 was one of the fastest hidden gems of its time. It looked like a smooth and stylish coupe, not a speed machine. But under the hood, it had power that could surprise anyone on the road. It could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 8.5 seconds and finish a quarter-mile race in 16.3 seconds. Not bad for a comfortable two-door car, right? The biggest reason for this speed was the engine. Ford gave the XR7 a 280 cubic inch V8 engine, which made 205 horsepower. That was a big deal because Ford had just moved away from old-school V8 engines and started using overhead cam designs. This made the engine more advanced and smoother than the older 305 cubic inch V8. It also had 265 pound-feet of torque, which gave it strong acceleration. Another thing that made the Cougar XR7 fast was its 4-speed automatic transmission. This was not just any automatic. It had an electronic overdrive system and a lockup converter for better fuel efficiency and smoother shifts. It even had a push-button lockout feature, allowing drivers to control the overdrive for better performance. But speed was not the only thing the XR7 had. It also came with new technology to improve the driving experience. Ford added a traction control system that used the anti-lock brakes to stop the wheels from spinning on slippery roads. This was a rare feature for cars in the early 1990s. The chassis also had some key upgrades, like stronger reinforcements to reduce noise and make the ride smoother. Inside, the 1994 Cougar XR7 was not just fast, it was also comfortable and stylish. The wraparound dashboard made the driver feel like they were in a high-tech cockpit. The seats were soft and all the buttons were placed for easy reach. At night, the power window and lock switches lit up, making them easy to find. For the first time, the Cougar also had dual airbags for safety. Before this, it had motorized seat belts, but now it offers modern protection for both the driver and the passenger. Number 6, 1996, Chevrolet Impala SS. 1996. Chevrolet Impala SS was secretly one of the fastest four-door cars of its time. It could hit 60 miles per hour in just 7.5 seconds and had a top speed between 150 and 158 miles per hour. That was great speed for a big American sedan. But since it looked like a regular car, people never realized how fast it really was. Right away, the Impala SS stood out because of its tough, low, and mean look. It was based on the Caprice, but Chevrolet gave it a sleek black paint job, dropped the ride height, and added a small spoiler. The body was smooth with almost no extra curves or flashy lines. The only decorations were the Impala badges on the rear fender and trunk, plus a small Chevrolet bow tie on the front grille. It was simple but aggressive, like a car that did not need to show off to prove how powerful it was. Under the hood, the Impala SS had the famous 350 cubic inch LT1 V8 engine. This was the same engine found in the Chevrolet Corvette, but slightly modified for the big sedan. It made 260 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque, pushing all that power to the rear wheels through a 4-speed automatic transmission. The engine had a special reverse cooling system, meaning it kept the cylinder heads cooler, which helped it make more power. Inside, the Impala SS was all about business. It had sport bucket seats in the front, a simple dashboard, and a clean, no-nonsense layout. It was not fancy, but it was comfortable enough for daily driving. The focus was on performance, not luxury. Chevrolet kept it basic to keep costs down and make sure all the money went into speed and handling. Even today, the 1996 Impala SS is remembered as one of the last true American muscle sedans. It had power, style, and attitude, but never bragged about it. That is why so many people still love it. Number 5, 1991. GMC Cyclone. Most people had no idea, but the 1991 GMC Cyclone was a pickup that could outrun sports cars. It could hit 60 miles per hour in just 5.3 seconds and run a quarter mile in 14.1 seconds at 93 miles per hour. That was faster than most sports cars of its time, including some Ferraris. But since it looked like a regular small pickup, people never realized how crazy fast it really was. Right away, the Cyclone stood out because of its all-wheel drive system. Most trucks were built for work, but the Cyclone was built for speed. It used a turbocharged 262 cubic inch V6 engine, making 280 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. The power went through a 4-speed automatic transmission and an advanced all-wheel drive setup that helped it grip the road, even in the rain. That is why this truck was nearly impossible to beat in a street race, especially when the roads were wet. Under the hood, the turbocharged engine was a beast, but it had some issues. The iron cylinder heads made it heavy, and some people thought it was too hard to work on. But none of that mattered when the turbo spooled up, pushing the truck forward like a rocket. It had a top speed of 126 miles per hour, which was insane for a pickup in the early 90s. Inside, the Cyclone was simple but cool. It had black bucket seats, a leather-wrapped steering wheel, and a red instrument panel that made it feel like a sports car. But the real magic was in how it drove. The all-wheel drive and sport-tuned suspension made it handle better than anyone expected from a truck. Even today, the 1991 GMC Cyclone is remembered as one of the wildest performance trucks ever made. It was fast, powerful, and completely unexpected. That is why car fans still love it, even though most people never knew how special it was. Number 4, 1996 Ford Mustang Cobra. The 1996 Ford Mustang Cobra might just be the fastest car you've never heard of. With a top speed of 152 miles per hour and a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of just 5.9 seconds, this beast moves like lightning. Yet, it's a hidden gem because, for many, it remains overshadowed by other high-performance Mustangs and isn't talked about enough. When you look at it, you can instantly tell it's something special. The Cobra comes with the Mystic paint, which is a color that changes depending on the light. One minute, it looks purple. The next, it could be brown or burgundy. This magic color was only available on the Cobra in 1996, making it a truly one-of-a-kind Mustang. Only 2,000 Cobras were made that year with this special paint. The powerhouse is just as impressive as it looks. Equipped by a 281 cubic inch V8 engine that delivers an astonishing 335 horsepower. This power is paired with a 5-speed manual transmission. which makes every shift smooth and exciting. When you hit the gas, the Cobra responds with a roar and a burst of speed that's hard to match. As you drive it, you feel the car's incredible handling. The suspension has been carefully designed to give you the perfect balance between comfort and control. With upgrades like larger Brembo brakes and a performance suspension system, the Cobra grips the road tight, especially when you're pushing it to its limits on the track. Though it's a powerhouse on the road, the Cobra still offers luxury features. Inside, you'll find leather seats and an advanced sound system, making it just as fun to drive on the highway as it is to race. The Cobra was built to stand out, not just for its speed, but for its style, making it a true icon of the Mustang lineup. Number 3, 1998 Plymouth Prowler. Imagine a car so fast that when the light turns green, it's gone before you can blink. That's what happens when you see the 1998 Plymouth Prowler in action. It's a car that screams speed, yet somehow it stays a mystery to many. People see it zoom by, but not everyone knows just how quick it really is. This car can hit 60 miles per hour in just 7 seconds, and the top speed? 118 miles per hour. It's not bad for a car that looks like a wild roadster in the future. So why don't more people talk about how fast the Prowler is? Maybe it's because it's not the typical sports car you'd expect. Instead of a loud V8 engine, it has a 6-cylinder engine that may sound small, but it still packs a punch. You won't find this car trying to be the biggest or the worst on the road, but it sure knows how to move when it needs to. When you step inside, you'll find a cabin that feels like a custom hot rod, with just enough room to make you feel comfortable, but not too much. The Prowler is built for speed, not luxury. The wide tires and long frame give it a smooth ride, but it's not just about comfort. The handling is sharp, and it takes on tight corners like a pro, leaving other cars in the dust. Despite all the attention it gets for its unique design and impressive speed, the Plymouth Prowler remains a hidden marvel. Not everyone knows about it, but those who do are lucky enough to witness its incredible power. Number 2, 1992 GMC Typhoon. The 1992 GMC Typhoon is one of the fastest vehicles most people don't know about. It could hit 60 miles per hour in just 5.3 seconds, which is faster than a lot of sports cars, including the Ferrari 348 TS. So why doesn't everyone know about it? Well, it's an SUV, and most people wouldn't expect an SUV to be that quick. But when you see the Typhoon in action, it's clear that it's more than just an ordinary SUV. Right from the start, the Typhoon grabs attention with its looks. It's based on a regular GMC S15 Jimmy, but it's so much more than that. The big tires, blacked-out body, and sporty design make it look like a muscle car on steroids. And when you press the gas pedal, it feels like one too. Powered by a turbocharged 262 cubic inch V6 engine, it makes 280 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. Then there's the performance. The Typhoon can easily leave most other vehicles in the dust. It does the quarter mile in just 14.1 seconds at 95 miles per hour, which is almost as fast as the Acura NSX. On top of that, it has an impressive top speed of 124 miles per hour. Not many SUVs can go that fast. In terms of handling, the Typhoon is just as impressive. It can take turns and corners like a sports car, with a grip of 0.79 Gs. It's not just about speed, it can stop quickly too. The Typhoon can go from 70 miles per hour to a full stop in just 185 feet, which is better than many supercars. Even though it's fast, the Typhoon isn't built for serious off-roading. It can handle bad weather and some rough terrain, but it's more about style, speed, and luxury than rock crawling. Inside, it has leather seats, power locks, and a sound system that makes it feel like a high-end sports sedan. It may not be perfect for towing, but for everyday performance, the Typhoon is as outrageous as it gets. Number 1, 1997 Lincoln Mark 8 LSC. The 1997 Lincoln Mark 8 LSC is a hidden speed demon that doesn't get the attention it deserves. It can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 7.1 seconds. And with a top speed of 148 miles per hour, it's definitely no slouch. Despite all this power, it somehow flies under the radar compared to other luxury cars. When you first look at the Mark 8, its dramatic design makes it clear that it's not just another coupe. The new headlights shine bright with high-intensity discharge lamps, and the chrome grille gives it a bold, fresh look. The rear features neon taillights and cool chrome exhaust tips, making it stand out even more at night. But it's not just about looks. Under the hood, it has a powerful engine that makes every drive exciting. Once you're behind the wheel, the improvements in steering and handling are immediately noticeable. The steering is now more responsive, and it talks to you through the wheel, making it easier to handle sharp turns and tight corners. On rough roads, the Mark 8's ride is smoother than ever, thanks to better suspension and shock absorbers that keep things comfortable without sacrificing performance. What makes the Mark 8 so special is that it blends performance and luxury effortlessly. With an engine that delivers 290 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, this car is a smooth and powerful ride that still manages to stay under the radar. It's one of the best-kept secrets in luxury cars. So, which one of these fastest muscle cars did you know about? Drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more speed secrets.